And so there you are. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, technical
Hi,
difficulties.
everybody.
That's okay. Hi. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just excited to be able to talk to you about. They have two
Yeah.
of your books right here in front of me. And so for y'all who's watching, I'm Yoko with Girlfriends Unfiltered, and this is author um Andrea Lee. She's from the Los Angeles area. She has 10 books. She's known for the Creative Love Network, which is just that. It's about spreading love throughout all over, but definitely through the Los Angeles area. And I am enjoying reading her work. And I'm going to let her go further and tell you a little more about herself. And then I'm going to start with all these amazing questions.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here again. My name is Andrea Lee, Coach A. Lee, or Chef Lee. I wear a lot of many hats. I've been writing since I was younger. My dad was a poet. My sisters are poets. So it's just something that I guess was innate in me. And every time I had an issue, I just wrote it out. I was never reactive, and I just put it on paper. And I'm thinking about the early 2000s. I found a poetry school, so I went to the poetry school to just learn more and enhance my writing. So that made a great deal for me. And then when I learned about talk to text, just talking my poetry or words into my phone and just editing it later made it real easy for me. But I'm a community activist. I love my community, love helping others. So everything I do is in service. It's
Mm-hmm.
always been service work for me, for the people, cooking, mentoring, case management, writing. So I think that's a little bit about who I am.
Right. Well, I want to talk about love today because that's what Girlfriends Unfiltered is all about. And we're centered around just reading books and finding love and healing within books. And I think that was my attraction to the power of change, the power to change the way you love, because it talks a lot about healing and finding love and the process of, um, I want to say falling in love, and while you're understanding exactly what it is. So I want to ask you, since this is like a guide to love, why love? Why did you choose love?
My whole life, I didn't know what love was. I didn't have, a good foundation, a mom or a dad that taught me love. I never really got hugs. So I was uncomfortable when people said that they loved me or they cared about me or wanted to hug me. Touching was not something, that I did.
Mhm.
So I'm getting more comfortable with that. But I want to learn how to process and love properly because I have children and I know how to love them, but I also want to love others. I was just used to throwing people away when I got upset, when I felt like they wronged me.
Okay.
And then later on in life, someone tells me, well, Andrea, you really hurt my feelings. I really cared about you and loved you. And I didn't understand that. So how can I be a better person? So I always try to look within. Either it's not about whose fault it is, but about being responsibility for changing who you are. And I thought that was very important. And love is a beautiful thing if you do it correctly.
Right.
Hmm.
And so you just stepped in and did research on love?
Yes, love with my friends, talk to my friends about it.
Mhm.
I worked in group homes and I used to have young girls and boys ask me, Miss, why doesn't my mom love me? Or I want something to love me, so I'm gonna have a baby so it can love me. I said, that's not no guarantee. It's not guaranteed that if you have a kid, they will love you. So we start doing these mirror reflection exercise. We stand in the mirror and just talk to ourselves and love on ourselves and talk about what we like about ourselves, nothing negative. And a lot of times people, even adults, couldn't do that. They would break down and
Right.
cry. So just breaking those barriers and getting to know ourselves on a deeper level, because people believe that love, you need another person for that. No, you
Right.
have to
Right.
love yourself first, because how could you love yourself properly if you don't know how to properly love yourself? So
Right. So love is subjective.
yes.
It's going to look different for different people. When you were writing and studying this, at the completion, what version of love do you want your readers to take away?
I want them to take away the self love aspect of it
Uh-huh.
and teaching people how to love them properly. Because we always say, well, I want to make sure this person is happy. I want to do this for that
Mhm.
person. But what about you?
Right.
Right? So, how could your relationships be more successful? starting with you. The relationship with yourself is the most important. You should be the most important person in your life.
Okay, so I have the book here in front of me. And and you're a poet. Let's get into that.
Yes.
You're a poet, and you have a book, and the two one I have,
Mhm.
where you write in you're telling a story. And this book is I Got a Story to Tell. And you're
Yes.
telling stories of different people. And at the end of each section, there's a poem there.
Mhm.
And the stories are like written in verse. Can you talk about what does it mean to be written in verse? And what does that mean to you?
It's me in a dialect that I understand. So just growing up, everything is a song, right? Everything is like about being creative. And my mind is just goes there, just so creative and writing different things and patterns that people can understand to capture the audience attention. And so that just means a lot to me. How can I get them engaged
Okay.
in this story that I'm telling?
Mhm.
And then just to top it off with a poem, to make it like more interesting, and just knowing that every story that follows is going to be that poem to follow. So it was a great experience for me writing, but when I went to school they would tell you, oh well, this is what works, but I don't want to be a cookie cutter writer. I want to do my own form of writing, so mine is more of storytelling, you know and just
Okay.
capturing the attention of the audience and making it real.
So writing in verse is basically just you just putting it all and just
Yeah.
going and just letting it flow.
Yes.
I kind of like the rap song. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna give you the opportunity. If you need a couple seconds, do you mind just giving us a poem as we go throughout this
Yes.
interview?
So I'm gonna give you guys a poem from my new book.
Okay, we're ready.
So this poem is titled "She Still
Okay.
Stands." I don't speak in pretty patterns, don't pour sugar on my stories. I've walked through too much fire to pretend that smoke didn't choke me. Pain tried to make a home in my bones, but I refused politely some days, angrily on others. I never lived there, even when it knocked daily, whispering that I should. People turned their backs as if my scars were contagious. Friends, so I thought, crossed their arms and closed their doors. They called me too much, not enough. A lie told often becomes the gospel to the blind, but not to me. I keep trusting. I keep loving, even when hands that once trembled, given when I had nothing but cracked pieces. Forgiven not because they earned it, but because I needed the space to breathe, to heal, to raise. It was hard, hard to feel, hard to believe I deserved to. Never been seen fully, never been heard without interruption, but the gift inside me, it wouldn't shut up. It knocked, it tugged, put me toward purpose, even when the weight of silence tried to bury it. They threw dirt on my name, fed lies to strangers, and watched them swallow it whole, but I found a friend, a real one, then a few more. Ones that held my hand not to guide me, but to walk beside me. I stopped hiding, stopped shrinking in rooms that couldn't hold my truth. I
Mm.
started opening bit by bit, like an orchid, daring the sun to notice her bloom. Now I laugh in my kitchen with people I trust, play games. We dance in the middle of messes. We celebrate birthdays, moments, each other, because being seen matters. And yes, sometimes a hug still surprises me, but I lean in now. I let it hold me, let it love me, let sisterhood root me like
Mm.
earth that's been waiting for my kind of bloom. I'm not looking for praise, but I am no longer afraid to receive it. A soft, I see you when you've lived a life where no one ever did.
Mm.
So I ask, me, who am I? I am a woman who walks in purpose, who found power and changed the way she loved herself. I am not what I survived. I am what I am becoming. Because of it, I am still rising. Thank
Yes, yes, yes. Thank
you.
you. So let's talk about this book since you pulled that. Talk about this new book.
So
I'm ready.
this book, I wrote it in school in 2023,
Okay.
2022,
Hmm.
but I didn't release it because I didn't feel like it was finished.
Okay.
And so then when I wrote, I got a story to tell, I wanted to do it like that. So it's short stories and poems that follow, but it's my truth. So it's true stories in here. Like the poem I just read was true in a lot of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about my childhood. I have a poem to my younger self, about my dad's addiction, about growing up in church, about being a mother,
Mhm.
just different things like that. Friendships that turned ugly, or people that didn't know me and felt like I thought I was better than, but even didn't even know my name or had a conversation with me. So just
And
things like that. So it's called Expressions of Love, Feelings of Courage, Love, Loss, Betrayal, and Loyalty. And it have a bonus chapter of envy.
okay, so I read a lot of romance
Yeah.
books, a lot of black romance, a lot of urban romance books, and in these books, the stories, that poem you just read, I think I probably couldn't assign that story to so many characters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but overall, the it's finding love and getting to love. So if we go back to the power of change and the way you love yourself, I marked a couple of things. I'm gonna find one. Let's talk about love languages. Um,
Yes.
I, I see that in a lot of the books that I read. Let's talk about love languages, how you define it, and what you came up with in your research in this book right here.
So, a lot of people talking about what is your love language, and a lot of people really feed into that. So, if he's not doing this or she's not doing that, then that's not my soulmate. So, we
Uh-huh.
connect these things, to that. But we were taught from early age as girls to be mothers. So, they hand you a doll, they say feed it, change the diaper,
Mhm.
show you these Disney characters like the white picket fence, the princess, look for your Prince Charming, right? Then they give you the color pink and tell you this is for girls and this is what you should do. This is what you like. You should sit like this and be modest. You're too loud. You got an attitude. Don't roll your eye. Be submissive to him.
Right.
Then the men, they teach them how your color is blue. Don't have feelings. You don't cry. You're a man. Men don't cry. You're going to be soft. So you put these two people together. She's caring, loving, maybe a little overbearing and needy. So people say. And he's hard and tough. And he thinks that he's just supposed to provide. And then they clash because this is what they were taught. They don't know how to love properly. So I have, in my class that I teach, in the self introduction, the first step is
Mm-hmm.
who I ask the question, who were you taught to be? And who are you actually? So
Mm-hmm.
you need
Mm-hmm.
to learn that. So we have to unlearn our old behaviors that don't work for us and
Right.
relearn the
Right.
love languages for ourselves. So what do you like that will make you happy? But how could you also have that in a relationship to enjoy with someone else? Because just because you might not like sports or you're not into this, but he is, so how could you make that your thing? So for me, I cook. So if my friend likes to watch
Mm-hmm.
sports, or I'll go make some chicken, whatever they have for sports,
Right.
and I try to
Right.
learn something about it and enjoy it. I like to watch different series about sports figures and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I do that because that's interest to me. So now we have something to talk about. So we could talk about what he loves, and then he could talk about what I love, and that's cooking. So we put those things together,
Together.
and now we have our own love language. So it don't have to be cookie cutter or what's in the
Right.
book or what's
So
fit for everybody.
there's not exact. It's not a
No,
science to love
no.
language. It's generally just how things flow.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about it. Just reading the content. So the 10 steps to loving yourself,
Hmm.
finding love, loving yourself. I'm just gonna read them really fast, and then after I get finished reading, if you don't mind doing another poem
Yes.
for us, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, so step one is self introduction. Self two, step two is self forgiveness. Then there's self healing, self understanding, self value, self trust, self recognition, self praise, self knowing, and self
Yes.
acceptance. After the poem, I have a question for you regarding this. So I'm gonna let you go.
Okay. You want a short poem or a long the same?
Whatever you can just give it to us. Short's fine. Long fine.
So we talked about a little about this book, and it's called The Stranger That Doesn't Even Know My Name.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go to the poem part. The story is really good. I said I should write a whole
Yes.
book of.
Could you give us just a little bit of each story, and then
Yes. So I'll give you a little bit about the backstory. So, a stranger that doesn't even know my name. And so
Mm-hmm.
it says, they speak of me often, warn others to watch the company they keep, yet they don't have never had a conversation with me, Zara says.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Mitch was Zara's friend, Talia,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of other people. And it was just in passing. So somebody just carries this, how telephone
Right.
is, or somebody
Right.
says something, or I believe she's like this, don't trust her, and things like that. So it leads up to this poem. Unbroken and unbothered. In
Mm-hmm.
the voice of a black woman who sees it all and still stands. They linked arms in silence, stood in solidarity to hate me, but they still didn't break me. Spoke with glances, gritted teeth behind closed doors, and still couldn't shake me. They warned others to watch the company they keep, referring to me, but they've never had a conversation with me, nor do they know me. Be careful who you align with. I'm not some dagger. Like truth has claws that might cut them too deep. Funny thing is, they never asked me my story. Never sat in my presence long enough to feel the warmth behind my fire. If who does she think she is was a person, it would be me and is. They say I never asked for permission to show up as myself, to be comfortable in my own skin, to love who I am. That's funny to me. I walk in rooms like I belong because I do, and that makes them itch. They whisper, who does she think she is? And the answer rises from my bones, exactly who I was born to be. They don't like that I don't shrink, that I don't audition for comfort in my own skin, that I don't stutter when I say my name. I never asked for permission to love myself out loud, to show up whole, to dance in the joy of being this black, this bold, this brilliant. It unnerves them, but it feeds me. Their hate, a small sound next to the thunder in my chest that says, keep rising, keep going, and keep loving yourself.
Well, that's just perfect, and that's very fitting for this Juneteenth.
Yes, yes.
Very, very, very fitting. I mean, let's get into. I want to know about your journey as a poet. Um, when did you step into it? I know there's poetry slams and things throughout Los Angeles that you're involved in, where you bring a lot of people, poets, and together and creatives together. Can you share a little bit about that?
Well, being a part of Creative Love Network, the founders are poet Larry Love and his beautiful wife, Miss Diane. And they created Creative Love Network, and they brought me in like a year later,
Mm-hmm.
and I brought in a mental health component in the workshops and things like that. And we started a program, well, not a workshop, but a poetry event called Kings and Queens of Poetry. So
Okay.
we bring 5 males and 5 females, the kings and the queens. We bring musicians, bands. The first one we had 2 bands.
Okay.
We all dress up. We have a throne. We have a king and queen chair. So
Mm-hmm.
of course, when they go to their poetry, first they sit on the throne. Poet Larry Loves give them a beautiful introduction that's just tailored for them. So they go back to back, as poet. It's no competition,
It's just
but we pick the poets. We don't have anybody sign up or
okay.
register. We just see the poets that we
You
like
just
and we invite them
see
to come.
poets throughout the so excuse me, you see poets like throughout the community
Yes.
that you recognize and you
Hmm.
invite those poets to come and share. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we had a dressing room for them. They everything is on us. They get to eat for free and we pay them, for
Okay.
their talent. And so we have a good time, dance afterwards. I cook the food, and Miss Diane does the drink because she's a bartender. I'm a chef. So everybody has talents in the group. So everybody from Creative Love come and support, work the door,
Mm-hmm.
serve the food. So we have a really great time. It's time for another one. So we
Yes,
had
that sounds
3.
that sounds absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Um, in writing The Power to Change, The Way to Love, was there a point where it became difficult to write this, or was there a section in the book that was more difficult for you to write?
Yes.
Okay.
So the forgiveness and healing part
Because
um
that's
was
difficult.
difficult.
That's just difficult for everybody anyway.
Yeah. So it's just like remembering like the tough times and healing from the past, and you have to practice what you preach, right?
Right.
So just going back, because I feel like I had a lot of blockage. I would block all the trauma that I had, and like it never happened, but I know I had triggers. And working in mental health, I learned a lot of things like trauma informed care, meeting people where they
Yes.
are, a lot of
Yes.
forgiveness, a lot of understanding. And it's tough because some things you never experienced, so you can't imagine, well, you could just stop doing drugs. How come but you can't say that because you've never been there,
Right.
right? It's
Right.
like
And even
telling
if
people,
you've been there,
yeah,
everyone's journey, how
yes,
they got
everybody
there,
journey,
looks
yes.
different.
So it's doing things without judgment. I
Right.
never wanted to be judged. And people always was like, well, I can't believe that you had a horrible mom because you're such a great person. I'm like, I chose to be this way.
Right.
And then some people say, well, I can't believe that your mom would do the things that she did, but your story is not mine. And just because you experienced a good mom or a good family, that's not everybody's story,
Well,
right?
there's a and then there's a section in the book. Of course, I tapped it because I live in romance,
Yeah.
and this is actually a question that I generally ask authors who write fiction, books that I interview as well.
Hmm.
Um, I have it marked, page 203.
Okay.
Sex versus love, drawing the line and understanding the distinction. It says romantic relationships can be incredibly complex and emotionally charged. That's just how it starts. What is the difference between when you're speaking of sex versus love?
Because sex is just a great feeling for a couple of minutes, right?
Hopefully
But
more. Hopefully more than a couple,
hopefully
but
more for some people, right?
hopefully
I'm
more.
just saying, it doesn't last a lifetime. You have to
Right.
keep,
You have
doing it
to
to
keep doing
enjoy
it, or
it.
you have to keep
Yes.
going. Okay. All
But
right.
love it could be a lifetime or forever for
Right.
some people, right? But how do you keep that spark and how do you keep that love going
Mm-hmm.
when you are detached? But for me, sex is different. So it's the emotion. I feel some emotion. I just can't allow anybody to, touch me or lay down with anybody. It has to be in a relationship and consensual and just monogamous. Some people are different, right? Some people have sex for sport.
Yeah.
We have to, I feel like in working with our young teenagers, teaching them this, and this is where a lot of this comes from, teaching battered teens or women,
Mm-hmm.
these different things because they feel like, well, oh, I slept with him and then he hit me. Well, why is that happening? Right. So
Right. Right.
you have
And
to
that
have
comes
some.
with the right behind that you have the complexity
Hmm.
of love, and that kind
So
of delves deep into more into the, like you said, it's more delving deep more into the heart and delve into the mind
yes,
of the person and how they perceive love.
yes. So it can be difficult for a lot of different reasons,
Uh-huh.
and it's tough when it comes to loving yourself or loving people or just teaching people how to love you. And I tell people that all the time. You have to teach people how to treat you, or they're gonna treat you any kind of way. So how do you do
Um,
that?
you mentioned the exercise that you use to help, and I know you do it with youth, but we can do it,
No,
and
I
I
do
might
it with
start doing it.
adults
So
too.
it's when you look in the mirror and you're telling yourself, "Girl, I love you.
Hmm.
You're
What? So
amazing." So
yes.
how does that work?
I even have love letters to yourself for every chapter,
Okay.
right? A self forgiveness, self introduction,
Hmm.
self healing. For
Hmm.
self introduction, we teach them how to edify themselves. When people
Right.
are talking to you or talking about you or introducing you, how do you want them to show up and edify
Right.
themselves, right? So I
Right.
think that's very important. So you look in the mirror, and we do this. So, boy,
I'm
Larry,
looking at the phone. I can see myself at,
yes.
so I'm finna do this with you now. Let's go.
So myself and poor Larry Love, a couple of weekends ago, we taught
Uh-huh.
20 DCFS young ladies about self-introduction, the power to change the way you love yourself, and he did emotions, and it was powerful, and they loved
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
So I would start off by saying, you hold the mirror up, and you just talk to yourself, whatever you call yourself, right?
Right.
Hi, Andrea. I'm
Hi,
happy
yoga.
you. I'm happy you're here today. You're doing such an amazing job with this thing called life. We know sometimes it gets difficult, but I want you to stay strong. Stand in your truth, be grounded, and love yourself. And then I'll go repeat after me. I love
I
you.
love
You
you.
are amazing.
You are amazing.
You are
You are
worthy.
worthy.
And everything that you do will come out great.
And everything that you do will come out great.
Believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself.
Stay strong in who you are.
Stay strong in who you are.
Connect with the people that loves you.
Connect with the people that love you.
And never give up on yourself.
And never give up on yourself.
And I'm going to leave you with this. I love you so much.
I love you. Look,
I,
I love you so
I love
much.
you so
I
much.
love you
You
so
got
much.
this.
You got this.
Love, Andrea.
Love you. That's dope. I like that. Like I'm just so at a point where I'm always immersed with love through literature,
Yes.
love through books, and so yes, that's great. So, do you have a poem that you want to share that's up specifically about love?
Um, Let me get it for you.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay. That's okay.
At my door. That's supposed to come
If
out.
y'all have any questions, you can write them in. We just flowing. We just talking about love, the foundation of love, love languages, the complexities of love, putting love into verses.
This is my first book, my poetry book, Connections
Okay.
Between Us. So I'm gonna find a love poem in here.
Okay. And so again, I'm Yoko with Girlfriends Unfiltered. I'm talking to poet Andrea Lee or A. Lee. She has 10 books. She's from the Los Angeles area. And I'm excited to be talking to her. You guys can drop a question in if you have a question. But other than that, she's about to give us some more words. Love in verse.
Yes. What is one poem from I Got a Story to Tell that you enjoyed?
Okay. I see where I'm marked. I like Glamorous Life because, that's in the Glow City Lights. Yeah, I like that
What
one.
page is
You can do that
that
one.
on?
I love that one.
What page is it on?
It's on 261.
261. Okay. Here we go. Glamorous Life.
Let's go.
She danced in the glow of city lights, a dreamer chasing starry nights with laughter that sparkled, a carefree glim. Summer lived her life in color, a vivid dream. From modest roots, she sought the grand, a world of glitz. She commanded it all parties, people, endless nights, a whirlwind of life of dazzling heights. But glamour fades when the shadows creep beneath the glitter. The wounds ran deep, lost in the maze of fleeting pleasure. Her life became a fragile treasure. One fateful night, she woke in pain. Her mirror reflected tears like rain. The girl she saw, she barely knew. Her soul now worn, her joy removed. The city's glow had dimmed its spark, leaving her adrift, alone in the dark. Abused, a tear, a hunting plight. The price she paid for endless nights, but never in despair, hope can ignite a flicker of strength and guiding light. She vowed to change, to break the chains, to reclaim herself, to heal the pain. Therapy sessions, a family's embrace, she found her footing, her rightful place. Yoga, painting, trails to climb, each step forward a healing rhyme. Her smile returned, shining bright, no longer dimmed by the city's night. Her story told of pain and grace, of falling, rising, finding her place. Glamorous allure lost its sway, for true joy lit life like each day. With balance found and peace restored, she lived a life she now admired and adored. Let summer tale remind us all, even in dark, we can stand tall. For life's true treasure isn't the shine, but love, self worth, and a soul divine.
Let me tell you why I like that. I like that because when I'm reading so many books, and that's generally the way the book flows, and in understanding trauma and being trauma informed is also a part of it. But I just think just knowing that you can go, things can look pretty and it could be taken away, and then you can rebuild and you can come back better. And I love that. Like, I
Yes.
just really love that. And so, again, that came from, I got a story to tell. And again, how it's written is there's short stories and then there's poetry behind it. And even though the short stories are indeed stories, they're still written, in my opinion, in verse. And that's what makes it beautiful, and that's what makes it very different. So I think I already asked you about your journey as a poet. When you're writing, for someone who wants to sit down for the first time, because we're coming to the end, but someone who wants to sit down for the first time and the words may not be coming to them, what advice would you give them?
So for me, I try to find something that I should have pleasure
Okay.
in. So everything that I do, even when I read, is creative. So
Okay.
I picture it like a movie, because a lot of times when you do things, you want to enjoy them, right?
Okay.
So look at some something a show that you like. Read a book for inspiration. Find some kind of inspiration in the things that you want to do.
Mhm.
Find a writing group, right? Find some kind of connection to something that you want to do that's
Mhm.
encouraging.
Right.
Talk to people that are encouraging, and that's not going to be negative and say, oh, you don't need to do that.
Mhm.
Everybody's doing that. Do something different. It's so many great people, but they're not you.
Okay.
And that's your superpower.
Mm.
So you have to remember that.
And so, can anybody be a poet?
I think so. Everybody has a voice. It's different types of poets. It's not just one set thing. Like it's spoken word artists.
Hmm.
A lot of great people can just get on stage and command it and know everything in their brains,
Right.
right? And I had this point when I say, I'm not a spoken word artist, you know.
Right.
And but I do learn some of my poems, and
Mhm.
because you have to when you go perform. So I have the pleasure to perform at the Pan African Film Festival like 3 years in a row,
Okay.
as a poet. So I did that. Poet 8. I did that. That was really nice with organization. Um, just a lot of LA Poet
Uh-huh.
Society. Uh,
So there's different ways that people can get
yeah.
involved, because I do this, like I said, when I talk to authors who write others like love stories and urban fiction, and I'm like you just sit down and pick up a pen and you have a story to tell, but it's different. You have a story, and as a poet, you still indeed have a story to tell. It's just done. Is it me? How is it done differently? Like, what is the difference for someone who's watching this? Then what is the difference between sitting down and I'm going to do this and sitting down writing poetry?
So sitting down and saying that I actually want to get out there and perform. So you have to write a performance piece because every poem that you write is not to be performed,
Okay. Okay.
right? So some of them are to be read, from a book. So if you're sitting somewhere and you go somewhere and say, I want to do a reading. So for organizations like Diverse Versus LA, they feature myself and Poet Larry Love and some of our other Creative Network team members in their events, but you have to be a spoken word artist. You have to be a piece that can be spoken,
Okay.
to a
Okay.
crowd and everybody relates to it. We have some poems that's call and response. So it's different types of poetry,
Okay.
right? So you have to know the different types, and that's why you go to school sometimes and you learn about the different genres of poetry, right? So we have haikus, and it's different names for a lot of different things. So you have to just break down the art of poetry and see where you fit into those different things, what is more comfortable for you.
Right.
We're always going to get nervous. You have people that's been writing poetry for 20, 30 years performing, and they
Mhm.
still get nervous,
Yeah.
right? And you're like, you're so dope, how are you nervous?
So, if someone wants to gain access to your books, um, what would be the process?
So they're all on Amazon, or they can reach out to me and
Okay.
I can send them to them. I have copies. So
Okay.
you
All
can.
right. Um, I first want to just say thank you. Thank you for taking the time in writing The Power to Change. This is a really good book. I actually talked to a friend today, and I told her, I was like, because she's like, well, I don't not really reading, all of the other books that I, normally have authors on for. I said, well, I have a book for you. And I said, I'm going to try to make sure I get a copy for you because I think you could benefit, because it's so much healing power in words. And there's
Yes.
definitely healing power in these words. And so thank you
And
for
with
that.
that book, it also comes with a journal,
Okay.
and it has a workbook, And I have an affirmation book that I don't have right here, but I also teach it. So I have a teaching manual for the
Mm-hmm.
teachers, and I have a course, and it goes. I think it's a 20-week course, and we go through this online or in person, and we go through the different steps. So each
Okay.
step is 2 weeks, and I have a mixture of men and women in the class. It's really great things
And
that's
so
happening.
when they can finish your class, what is the expectation at completion?
So we go through like where we started from, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they're comfortable with me recording, so they can go back and watch when we talked about the questions. Like I told you for self introduction, my question to them is, who were you taught to be, and who are you actually? So we have to come to the end of that figuring out who we are today, and not be stuck in who we were taught that we were, right? In order to be happy. We see a lot of people committed suicide
Mm-hmm.
because they're struggling with their family values. That's not their
That
values, right?
exactly. You know what? That's when I was reading this. That's the way I felt. I'm like, there are so many things to unlearn so that you can get where you need to be now.
Yes.
And you don't even know that you need to unlearn them. And so
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when you have books like your books, it's very helpful because now it's like, you know what? I do this, or this is me, or this was me, or I need to change. And so, yeah, I'm glad that I had the opportunity. I met you at a Women's Day event in
Yes.
Altadena,
Yeah. That's
and
Dorothy's Hope
yeah,
Now.
and so it was a great opportunity that you put you gifted me these books, and I appreciate you for that. I'm gonna let you close this out, but again, you guys, this is author Andrea Lee, A. Lee, and she has 10 books. I'm a pusher of certain books, so of course this is the one because this is the one right now that has me in a chokehold. But definitely reach out and grab a copy of the book. And again, thank you so much for spending time with Girlfriends Unfiltered and me today. So I'm gonna let you close us out. You can do it with poetry. You can do it however you
I'm gonna
like.
do a poem and then tell them how they can reach me.
Okay.
But this poem is titled "How Many Times Have I Lost?"
Okay.
How many times have I lost? I stopped counting because the number never mattered as much as the fact that I got back up. Failing was never the end. It was a chapter, a pause, a bruise, never a burial. I've gone to bed hungry, tucked my babies in with prayers instead of dinner. I've known the cold of the street light more intimately than the warmth of a parent's love. But I never stayed in the cold. I showed up for me. Every time life said, sit down, I stood taller. I said, no, you don't get to finish my story like this. I've been told that I think I'm better because I don't carry pain like a badge, because I walk with peace, because my head is held high, not from pride, but from surviving. They say, who does she think she is? Because I dress with care, because I love this skin, because I refuse to wear my scars on my sleeve like shame. I've been overlooked, judged by faces that look like mine and some that don't look like me. Whispers behind my back from mouths that never asked me my name, but still I smiled. I still served, still loved. People smile in my face, call me friend with their mouths, while their hands hold daggers and their lips whisper my name to strangers. Still I don't curse them. Still I don't turn to hate. That's the miracle. I didn't become bitter. I became a mirror, showing others what surviving looks like with grace, with strength, with truth, even when love didn't raise me, even when love didn't feed me, even when love didn't clothe me. I carried it anyway because I chose me, because they depend on me, because quitting was never an option. I don't regret anything. Every loss taught me how to win differently. Every Again, every loss taught me how to win differently. I walk in my shoes no one else could ever wear. That's my superpower. This story, this spirit, this voice that was never defeated. And believe me, the one who need me always know my name. I show up, I help because love lives here and love never gives up.
Wow. Thank you.
You're
That's
welcome.
powerful. That
And
was
that's in
so
my new
powerful.
book. So that will be out June 28th on my
Mhm.
birthday this year. And I want to encourage people to practice love and giving yourself the power to change the way you love yourself. Not what somebody tells you love is. It's not makeup. It's not changing your hair, changing your skin color or your body parts. Love is from within. And somebody's going to love you for who you are, not for what you have or what you look like. And you can follow me at coach_a.lee or Miss Drea the Poet or Creative Love Network, and visit our website at creativelovenetwork.com. I also teach the power to change the way you love yourself online or in person. We can do one-on-one or a group. If you feel comfortable, just DM me. And I have some gifts for you. So I'll make sure that I'll send you my new books because I really appreciate you having me and allowing me to share my poetry. That's part of my story.
Thank you so much. I'm like, this is the first time that I've done it. I'm delving now into poetry, and I'm glad that I had you to be the first guest.
I have some
And
other poets. Poet Larry Love, you should have him
you
on.
have to we got to talk. So after this,
Yes.
definitely we can talk. And because love is an amazing thing.
And Creative
And the more
Love
we
Network.
talk about it, the more it processes, the more it comes out.